news sources that don't accept any advertising. The reason I'm doing this to begin the new year 2025 is because there was so much misinformation in our society today. These 4 sources, I listen to them when I want to listen to the news and really understand and learn about important topics. And it's not just politics that I'm talking about here. Some of this is about what's going on in the world, what is going on with Ukraine, what's going on with Gaza. Gaza, I didn't even pay attention to this year because I think Ukraine is just as important, and there's only so much information that you can take when it comes to all the things that are going on in the world. But I chose 4 resources, which I have listened to for a long time. The first one was called Beau of the Fifth Column. His wife has taken over, and she has renamed it Belle of the Ranch. The reason I chose this particular channel first is because they actually are very active in their community, meaning that they have gone to Hurricane Katrina. They have come to our communities after Milton and Helene. They don't just talk on their YouTube channel about issues. They also give ideas in order to help yourself. Belle was just talking about some of the things that are going on in our United States community, and she has devised a playlist for us to build a community, for us to find alternative ways to help other people. And that's one of the reasons I have chosen these 4 YouTube channels, because they give us ideas to make it through very chaotic times. They have solutions to what we would consider troubles. So Belle of the Ranch is the first one. If I don't feel like listening to the news, she's the very first one I turn to because she's also funny. Secondly is Democracy Docket. This is created by Mark Elias, who is a voting rights and suppression attorney. He's constantly suing the courts. He's constantly suing the GOP because gerrymandering and voter suppression is rampant. And he will tell you the wins and he will tell you the losses. He is an amazing attorney. Second, Glenn Kirshner has been a federal prosecutor for over 30 years. He no longer practices that, but his YouTube channel specifically focuses on you know who, because I can't mention the guy's name any longer. However, he also addresses other legal issues, such as what's going on with Supreme Court. Again, he also offers solutions. I strongly suggest you listen to his most recent podcast regarding what Congress could do to actually stop you-know-who being elected. They have every right to do this. They just don't have a backbone. Listen to this latest podcast of his. It's in my podcast details. I will probably post it on LinkedIn and other resources because this could happen. Congress could literally stop what's-his-face from being the president. Yes. So if 74 million of us would contact them before January 6th or on January 6th, we could change the world. Lastly is Brian Taylor Cohen. He does joint programs with Glenn many times regarding the legal issues. He interviews people like Liz Cheney. He interviews Adam Kinzinger. He's on the right side of justice also. All of these people are on the right side of justice and truly focused on helping Americans live a better life and giving us a heads up on things that we can do, things that we can help our community, ways that we can improve other people's lives, our neighbors, our children, our colleagues. So all of these podcasts, all of these YouTube channels I chose because, one, I listen to them. However, they all have solutions to what's going on in this so chaotic times of our lives. That's my breakdown of how the podcast is going to change. I'm always going to include free resources and free links to help people improve their lives. As always, it's going to have information about Kundalini Yoga, which is one of the world's oldest yogas. I have been practicing it every day for 30 years. This Kriya one is how to forget the past. Very easy to do. All of these are in a sitting position. Yes, you do some chanting. The other one is abundance, because this is not just a time of where we might need more money or prosperity in our bank, but it's a time where we could also use perhaps a new career, or perhaps our health needs to improve. And that's what abundance and prosperity really means. Perhaps you need to have more intrinsic relationships with your girlfriends or your boyfriends, the people who you want, better people you want in your life. This Kriya can help you also with that. Lastly, I have been a vegetarian for over 40 years. I've also been a wine expert, predominantly French wines. I'm going to do a little twist on my food and wine pairings, and I'm only going to talk about how to pair certain wines with certain vegetarian dishes. Now, I'm not a vegan, not theoretically. I do not eat any more dairy any longer. But I'm not telling you to be a vegan. I am suggesting ways to help the planet and stop eating so much damn meat. Whether it be a chicken, whether that be a cow or a pig. And I'm actually going to put a link in the wine section regarding Farm Sanctuary, because this is a gentleman who has an amazing farm sanctuary where they rescue animals from being slaughtered. A very interesting story. It's a great idea to follow Farm Sanctuary, because even if you don't want to become a vegetarian, if you are thinking about our planet and ways to improve, if you cut back on corporate meat, corporate manufacturing, and visited your small local farms where the animal had a life before they did decide to use it for their consumption. To wrap this up, there are 4 alternative news resources I have put on this podcast to help you improve your lives, improve your community lives. There's no advertising. Never do they advertise. So they can do the research. They can present hard truths. They will present information that helps us improve our lives. They don't just tell you how dire everything is, but they actually have a roadmap on things you can do to help your own life, your neighbors, all your friends, all your relatives. Always will have links about Kundalini Yoga and the way that can help you also with your health and your relationships. And lastly, the food and wine pairing section is now going to be focused on vegetarian dishes. I'm Valerie Hill. I create this podcast once a week to help your mindset, which means thoughts. Your thoughts become things, so choose the good ones. I also teach a public speaking course. It is virtual. I teach that based on your schedule, so it's in the podcast details also. Merci, au revoir.